Hi, everybody. Intuition is a communicative power of the soul known to our ancestors since ancient Egypt and whose regular use is still found in our traditions. This product of the freedom of the soul from the physical body is a very effective epistemic tool that the African must integrate into his modern educational system.
Welcome to the channel Zilalowa of Dr. Yaluka. To begin, please subscribe and tick the notification bell in order not to miss our videos. Thank you for joining.
The theme of our lecture is the superior power of intuition. One of the fundamental doctrines of African traditional religion is the freedom of the soul from the body. This freedom arises from the fact that for the Black, reality is spiritual. This nature of reality is today a demonstrable fact thanks to the Kemetic cosmological argument, an argument that can be stated summarily as follows. I'm an individual being, you are individual beings, so this universe in which we stand is an individual entity, being an aggregate of individuality. The individual nature of this temporal universe implies that it is the effect of an individual cause. The individual nature of that cause begs the existence of other causes. Many may have not yet created a temporal universes. So we have potential and effective creators or causes. Here, let me introduce an hypothesis which is not indispensable that I use for the sake of brevity. The hypothesis is that every creation exists in its creator. Capitalizing on this hypothesis, there is an entity which includes all the above deduced, all the above deduced effective and potential causes. This entity is the most high because any universe you can imagine will be in its creator, and the creator will be in this entity. So this entity is the greatest possible being, which is the most high. Has the most high, has the greatest possible being, the most high must be indivisible and immutable. For if she were not, there might be a principle of his mutability and indivisibility, and that principle must be greater than him, which is greater than the greatest possible being, an impossible outcome. Therefore, the Most High is indivisible and is absolutely immutable. It ensures also that the Most High must be transcendent. By transcendent, we don't only mean that he is above everything, but that he doesn't know evil. Because within the frame of his indivisibility, in him to know and to be are one and the same thing. If the Most High knew evil, he will be infinitely bad and infinitely good, which is an aberration. Here, let me ask a question. Where is this temporal universe in relationship to the Most High? It cannot be in the Most High, because if it were, at the moment of creation, something new will appear in the Most High will have changed, which is impossible because we have seen he is absolutely immutable. It cannot be outside of the Most High because if it were added to the Most High, it will result in an entity greater than the greatest possible being. So the temporal universe is neither in the Most High, neither outside of the Most High. It is like I said to you that Mr. X, who is with me in the studio, has a car, but his car he is neither in the studio nor outside of the studio. Then you conclude that his car in his mind. So here we have the creator who has a universe, and the creator is included in the Most High, but his universe is neither in the Most High nor outside of the Most High. The conclusion is that this universe is in his mind. In other words, the temporal universe is only a limited perception of spiritual reality. Reality is spiritual. The material is an appearance, a limited perception of reality. This is a fact established scientifically thanks to the Kemetic cosmological argument. Understanding that reality is spiritual, our ancestors came to the conclusion that the spiritual is not in the material because the infinite cannot be cannot be confined in the finite. It therefore follows that in the Kamit and Sumerian religion, the soul was described as not being in the body. In fact, the soul is to the physical body like the physical body is to its optical shadow. This conviction of the ancient Kemite can still be read nowadays in the response of an old African when confronted with a difficult question. He answers, "Let us sleep and let the head have a dream." In other words, faced with the limitation of human reason, the old African always resort to the higher power of intuition, has a oniric communication coming from the ancestors. The African has always considered that thread from the hindress constituted by the physical body, the soul can embark in revealing peregrinations. The soul can soar towards the higher planes of existence and bring back to us the needed knowledge. However, on the temporal level, this affirmed freedom of the soul is in fact an ideal which can and must only be achieved through the purification of thoughts. Through the purification of thoughts, our soul separates itself from the hindering company of the physical body and goes liberated toward the higher planes to bring to us new knowledge. With this knowledge. In the education of the Black, the goal of our ancestors was not a, a full, a well-filled head, nor a well-made head, as is the case in the West, but rather it was a very pure soul. It is this educational model of the ancient that we have lost and that we must reintroduce or introduce in our modern school systems. While through a very full head or a well made head, the Western system manages to produce experts through a very pure soul. African system produce savants, people capable of transcending the limitation and surmountable to reason. But then how can we purify our thoughts? I give you here a very simple schema I teach in my initiatory classes. It consists to first affirm one's purity in the past, the present, and the future. And second, strip sin of any pretension to do us good. And third, reaffirm our purity in the past, the present, and the future. In a practical manner, I do it this way, addressing my holy ancestor, I tell them, I know because you know it in me that in reality I'm pure. I've always been pure and I shall always be pure because I'm the image and likeness of the Most High. Therefore, sin never had power to do me good. Thus, it cannot have power to separate me from my God given holiness. Therefore, I'm pure. I've always been pure and I shall always be pure. The more diligent we apply, the more diligently we apply ourselves to the purification, the less memories of past sin will invade us. And the more we will demonstrate purity in our life. Relying on this method of purification, thanks to the higher power of intuition, I was able to write my PhD thesis in 3 weeks, and I got an A. And the thesis was published by a famous editor in Paris, and it was reviewed by a scientific journal of the University of Toulouse in France. Contrary to the Western conception, intuition for the Black is an inaudible communication coming from the ancestors. Thus, the more we obey our intuitions, the more clearly the ancestors who are the authors will speak to us. Where our political leaders have not yet understood the need for an educational paradigm shift, it is up to Black leaders, Black spiritual leaders to create parallel educational system where the Black nation will learn to develop this superior power that is intuition. Intuition is a superior means of acquiring knowledge that African, the Black people, must integrate into their modern educational system. This means Arising from the freedom of the soul in relation to the body, there is a need for the African for an educational system based on the purification of thoughts. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share. More on this subject can be found on my books available at Amazon.